What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Not Today. We haven't really been doing introductions because we've just kind of been rolling into it.
I know.
Keita's been making us raw dog the intro. And
so raw.
and sometimes
It's so raw.
And sometimes we start off in a really weird place.
Yeah. And we have to go,
Hey, Eddie.
do not post
Nope,
that.
nope. Keep your arrows over there to yourself today.
Oh, come on, I got one question.
Hawkeye.
Speaking of raw dog, and Eddie, what kind of condoms do you like?
Nope, Keita, we're not doing it. Your guys are at bay. Your guys are at bay. Your guys are in a holding cell now. They've been cut off from the rest of
Right.
society. They're just gonna die in there. Like when you have like an ant farm and you don't feed it. Like that's what your guys are
They're going to
right
start
now.
eating each other. Yeah. There's no out for my guys. I'm fixed. So it's just,
Get your husband spayed.
I never thought I'd be a swallower.
Anyways, but yeah, it's what's been going on in your life, Eddie?
I threw my back out. I know we probably have a younger demographic than who I am.
I can't really tell what our demographic is.
I
Can you
don't
guys
know
do
what
us a favor? Can you let us know who you are, where you are, your age? You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
just give us some
info. We're
give
going to
us some
set up
basic
we're setting up a
demographics.
voicemail box, so you guys can call in and talk to us.
Yeah, because we really do want to get to know you guys better. Also, just so we know what you guys want to hear about and what not hear about. You
It
know,
also helps us produce the show because we're running out of shit to talk about.
that's not true. Life is constantly throwing us curveballs.
Constantly.
Apparently,
Hitting me in the lower
you're
back.
old man sciatica.
I was at the
You
gym.
do look like you're in a lot of pain.
I'm in for a week now. So much pain. And usually this I've had a bad back since I was a kid playing football. And I would get
I feel like every dude has that story.
every dude has that story.
I hurt myself.
Playing football,
When?
bro.
You know, when I
Varsity.
junior varsity.
Varsity, state champ. But I was at the gym working out, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to power through legs. And you don't, when you have a bad back, you don't power through legs.
No,
That's a bad thing to
But
do.
also, it means probably your form is screwed, Eddie.
No, I was on the hip sled thing. I was sitting down.
you
I have
can
good
still
form.
have bad form on a hip
No, I
sled
had good form.
on a sled.
I had good form. It wasn't the form. It was I already felt the twinge.
I feel like every man thinks they have good
I have
form,
good form.
but it's because you guys don't realize when you have slopes in your
I
lower
have good
back.
form. I have good form.
That was the hardest part about being married to an ex-pro athlete is he thought everyone should lift weights like him.
Yeah, no.
And
You're gonna blow your O-ring out doing what he did. There was some stuff he used to do. I'm like, what the hell? Why?
what are you doing that for? What are you trying to prove?
Are you in the junior limit? What are you doing?
What are you trying to prove, buddy?
There's no reason to lift that kind of weight at that age anymore.
I lift for aesthetic. I lift for looking good naked. That's literally it. I lift so that people are like, good for her. You know, like
I lift to look good in clothes.
But I live to look good in clothes, and then I dress like a homeless person 90% of the time. It makes no sense. Make it make sense, Eddie. But so you were on the sled.
I hit the set and I felt it started to tighten. I'm like, you know what? I'm here. I'm just gonna.
Is it bilateral? Is it one like?
It's
is it
mostly
one
the right side. Because I've had this. It's the same part. It's the same joint that flares up on me all the time.
Are you a side sleeper?
I bounce all over the place. I prefer back, but I snore. So I'll get the elbow from Tracy, so I got to roll on my side.
Oh.
Do you have one of those CPAP machines?
No, I don't.
Why
I haven't
don't
been
you?
I haven't been diagnosed with sleep apnea.
Most
that
people that
snoring?
snore, yeah. No, sleep apnea is when like there's a break in the snoring.
Yeah, I don't do that. I'm not like.
Like when you think,
not that.
you know, oh, good, it's over, and you're like, oh wait, they might have died. That's sleep apnea.
No,
That's Eddie's wife.
it's not me.
But
Oh, but anyway, so I just pushed through, and I went home. I was like, I'm just gonna lay down, and then I laid down. I couldn't get up for like 2 hours. I'm like, I can't fucking get
you
up.
have to stretch, dude. Do you stretch after
I'm
you
not
work
a good
out?
stretcher.
No, no one is.
I'm not a good
No one.
stretcher.
You have to prioritize
Yeah,
it.
but stretching doesn't make you look good. You can't see the gains from stretching.
Yeah, you can.
I mean,
if
like
you-
stretching doesn't make you look good, and I'm like, please tell that to your jeans, Eddie, because if you don't pull them down, our viewers are going to get an eye full of your balls.
Oh, dude. Does the camera go that low?
I was like,
Why do you say that at the top of the show?
Eddie, you do this all the time. You know, you've nearly walked on stage with your fly down, and I was like, Eddie, what are you doing? You're like, just trying to make everybody comfortable.
Dude, just want to bring everybody into my world. I literally I've had that issue for some reason the last like 2 months. I've been walking around with my fly down. I don't know why.
Really?
I just when I
Are
go
you
to
just
the bath,
in that big of a hurry?
I don't know what's going.
You can't stretch. You can't zip up your own pants.
I just forget. I think I might have early onset dementia.
I think you have ADHD.
I think something's
I think
happening.
you have ADHD. This is peer review, Eddie.
I do have ADHD. I think I do.
I think you have ADHD.
I think I do have
I think
ADHD.
this is, and by the way, I think this is how you should diagnose it, because getting actually diagnosed with ADHD is so hard
Yeah.
and expensive.
Yeah.
So I just think we should do peer review.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Can we do peer prescriptions too? Can we do that?
I know a guy in the valley. They're so hard to get right now. It is so hard to find Adderall if you need it.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. But
So, I think I have it, but anyway. So I'll manage. I'll
you
push through.
cannot get comfortable.
I
Like,
can't.
I'm
There's no comfortable
uncomfortable
spot.
watching you try
There's
to get
no
comfortable.
comfortable spot.
You're going to end up just spread eagle at this
I
point.
might just be on my back. The only comfortable spot is laying flat on the floor with a tennis ball under my back,
Oof.
going right up into the knotted muscle.
Oh,
That's the
you're like
only-
right up into the butthole.
Right into the butthole.
If you put a golf ball in there and flip
Oh,
over, I mean,
need
it's
bigger than
basically
a
a
golf
T.
ball.
Really? For your butthole?
What are we talking about?
You being an old man.
I'm an old man. I'm an
You
old
Well,
and
you guys wanted me to
everything
shut
hurting.
up today.
Anyway,
But yeah, listen, it's coming for us all, dude.
I know.
Like you
Father
know,
time.
I feel it. I feel it some days more than others,
Yeah.
you know? I feel it really bad when like I have to deal with lady stuff. Cuz I'll forget even though I have a calendar.
Yeah.
But I also like I'm at the age now.
Are you getting the hot flashes yet? Are you going through that
I
part?
think I've had hot flashes, but I thought I was dying.
Well, to be fair, you think you're dying several times a year.
Yes, yes. When COVID happened, guys, I would be PMSing and I'd be like, guys, I have it. I know I have it. And I know I have. And you know what? It's crazy because they've recently discovered in science that when you are getting ready to have your period, your like uterus and like everything down there expands and it affects your breathing, which is why I'd always feel like I couldn't get good
Wait, it
breath.
expands so it puts pressures on your lungs so you can't take a deep breath?
Yeah, it messes with your diaphragm. I had no idea. But I was like, oh, because I always wondered why I got PMS and I was like, guys, I got the Rona. I can't. And then I'd test and I'd be negative. And then I'd be like, oh, I know what this
You
is.
were like, every other week, you were like, I got the Rona, guys.
it's every 28 days, Dick. I have a calendar. But now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, is it going to come or not? I'm on the tail end of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Tracy's still getting hers, but she's been through the hot flashes.
Weird.
Like she's in,
That's
I guess,
just
premenopausal.
someone trying to.
Perimenopausal.
Yeah, that's just someone punishing her.
Yeah. It's and the hot flash, like I never was like, I'd always heard about hot flashes and like, okay, what does that mean? You get a little warm, you got. I watched her go through hot flashes. It's like literally someone just picked her up and threw her in her sauna. Like
Yeah.
she's just sweating. Like
You sweat.
I can't.
You feel like you are dying.
It's
the
crazy.
best way I can explain it. Like there's like heart palpitations.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff that goes on with it.
Miserable.
And the
It's like
thing
she was on the hot wing challenge. But
she's on hot one. She's like, look at us, look at us.
but like sweating and just like you can't get comfortable. It's a nightmare. Man.
So bad. I've had one at the gym. I feel like I exacerbated.
flash at the
Yeah,
gym?
I feel like I exacerbated it with
Right.
pre-workout.
Right.
That was bad.
Yeah, that's probably really bad.
Yeah.
Pre-workout. For
Getting-
guys, it's just you just can't get fully erect anymore.
You're like, oh, I guess the party's
I
over.
guess that's it. You're not going to enjoy this that much.
Show's over, guys. Everybody pack up.
Anybody have some popsicle sticks and tape? I need a splint for this thing to help get me through.
Tracy's like, why do I have splinters? What is
Sorry,
wrong
I'm on
with
like
us?
8 Advil right now.
I'm so sorry, dude.
I'm a
Like I
little
said,
loopy.
I can tell you look
I'm a little loopy.
miserable. Yeah, but I do think you have ADHD. Circling back to that,
Yeah.
because you tend to procrastinate quite a bit.
Dude, I procrastinate so much.
Like I feel like when you know you have something coming up, you will go, oh, but I have all these other things to do, which
Right.
is like a peak symptom of ADHD. Like I do the same thing, you know, when I think when I have something coming up.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, my house is so messy. And my house won't even be messy, but it'll be like disorganized.
Yeah.
Or I'll be
Well,
like,
you have like I've been to your house. Your messy house is like a pile of shit on your table.
that's peak ADHD.
It's
You just
like
have
8 things misplaced in your house on the table.
Truly, that's like a cluster pile though, where it's
Yeah.
like my house will be spotless except for a pile of chaos. And it's not a lot. It's just 8 miscellaneous things that my brain has not
not a
decided
lot.
where it belongs in my house.
Yeah.
You know?
Your wrecked house is my I'm done cleaning house.
I wonder how big your pile would be.
Dude. My pile is my apartment.
What other? I mean, but I know you procrastinate. You
I
always put
procrastinate
stuff
all
off.
the time. I'm terrible at it. I used to not be as bad, and the older I get, the worse I get at it.
Well, it's because you have more responsibilities.
Yeah.
And that's the thing we forget is it's like we're not kids anymore.
No.
You can't like push it to the deadline for the test.
Right.
You know.
I used to be great at that at school. I would just put it off, and then I could do it the night before. I could write the paper the night before. Or I could sit up the night before and just
Can't do
power
that.
through it. And now I'm like, oh, I was supposed to have that written. And then I'm like, okay. And then I just like, well, it's 1 a.m. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed.
I used to
I don't do it.
procrastinate a lot more in school until I got caught cramming
Yeah.
because I wrote a book report on The Natural.
Oh, that's right. You wrote about the
I wrote
movie, not the
about
book.
Movie, not
Way
the
different story. So different.
Do you know that one, Kita?
What?
The Natural. The book The Natural.
No.
The story of The Natural.
No.
You've seen the movie The Natural?
I've never even heard of it. No.
So
With Robert Redford?
Robert Redford. It's like a big baseball movie. But it's like iconic.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the book and the movie, Eddie?
Well,
You have to remember this.
I have to remember this. It's the movie ends on a sort of a happy note
Yep.
where he hits the home run.
Hits the home run with
and then he goes
Wonder
and
Boy.
he's with Wonder Bat or Wonder Boy. or
Wonder Boy.
whatever. And then he goes home and he's throwing, and it ends with him throwing a baseball in the field with his kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the book.
In the book,
Pretty sure he gets caught.
I think he gets caught juicing.
I forget because I never read it. I just know that I got caught. And I think it was something to do with like, it's the whole say it ain't so
Yeah.
quote comes from the book.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Not the same.
I got roasted in
What year
10th
was
grade
this?
English.
10th grade?
Yeah. 10th grade English, Miss Ward. She was like, that's not how that goes at all. I was like, son of a bitch.
You know what? I faked sciatica in 5th grade.
Why would you fake sciatica in
In
5th grade?
grade?
Do you want to know why?
Why?
This is what I want to talk about. So in 5th grade,
Yeah.
I'm putting together a few topics here:
Yeah.
boners, sciatica, and grade school. So,
As you do, Kita, as you do.
no, this is such a good. I've never told this story
Okay.
before
Okay. Ooh,
on
breaking,
stage.
Breaking
or,
news.
breaking news. So in 5th grade,
Yeah.
I kind of developed quickly, and in 5th, I'm Italian, so I was like shaving in 5th grade, and so what happened? I was in 7th grade, so I was in 5th grade, and I was in Miss Davenport was my science teacher, and she looked like Michelle Obama. She was gorgeous teacher, and we were sitting there, and it was in the 80s, early 80s, and I was wearing those like
You were wearing your
tennis
shams.
shorts.
You were wearing your shams.
Tennis shorts, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, in the middle of her lecture, I got a boner, and I was like, and Eddie can probably relate with this, and I was like, holy shit! And so the whole time, I was like, it was in the middle of class, and I was like, okay, I got time, and I was like thinking about grandma's tits. You know, I had a grandma that had these horrible, ugly
Like
missile
wet
tits.
socks taped to the wall.
Yeah, I was just like
Mae Young?
anything. So
Young tits.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
who?
Mae Young, wrestler. Look, I think I told my mom, I go, those look like tennis balls and tube socks.
No,
I
listen.
was like young when I said that.
Listen, my grandma, like when I was a kid, I had a paper route, and my grandmother's bras, when I went and visited her one time, I thought I left one, I had one of those things I put my head through that carried the papers.
Yeah.
I thought her bra was one of my things that I left at her house. That's
he
how
is
big
riding
her tits
around
were.
with this Triple H bra around
Yeah.
his neck.
So what happened was,
I'm shocked he's not slingshotting the papers on the walls with him.
Fire.
So I'm sitting there in Miss Davenport's class, and I'm like, okay, I got a half an hour to like get rid of this boner, and I'm like sitting there, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she turns around, looks at me, and my buddy Dave was sitting right next to me, and she's like, Mr. Dave, Mr. Matthew, can you come up here and move this table?
Oh no.
And I was like, holy shit. And so, and so what I did is I got up. I'm going to have to show you. I get up and I go, I just basically got like this. And I'm walking.
I have sciatica.
And she's like, oh, Mr. Matthew, what's wrong with your back? And I was like, I don't know. I twisted it in the fucking, in some like lifting the
Like a
table by like
sciatica.
a 80-year-old guy. Holy shit. Anyway,
That's
there
hilarious.
you go. You
Yeah,
heard it
I stopped wearing-
first.
I stopped wearing sweatpants in 5th grade because of boners.
Girls
Oh,
don't
really?
have that problem.
Yeah, they don't have that problem.
So what? Wait. So that was so off the rails. We're on brand. What other stuff are you procrastinating with, Eddie?
I got like 5 things I have, like writing things I have to do, things for this show I need to do, things for my other shows I need to do,
Do you
things I
need
need to do for my
deadlines?
family.
Do you need deadlines?
Deadline, I just blow them off. I'm like, eh.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
When I ask you to do stuff, I'm
I
like,
just
this
fucking
is
blow
time
shit off.
sensitive, Eddie.
I just blow shit off.
You know what it is? Is procrastination is not a.
I just blow shit off.
It's not a. I don't want to do this thing or like a laziness thing. It's like a lot of people think
It's
that
not
that's-
lazy. I'm not a lazy
no,
person.
not at all.
of
Procrastination is
lazy.
actually a nervous system regulation thing.
Yeah.
It means you are too dysregulated to do something.
Probably.
And it's like your body's trying to protect you from something. Whether it's rejection.
Success.
Yeah, rejection. Honestly, it's not success, Eddie.
I'm okay with rejection. Rejection doesn't bother me anymore.
Failure.
No, I fail. quite a bit.
He's like, oh no, I do that all the time.
I'm friends with failure. I don't know what it is. I've been trying to figure out why I do procrastinate so much, because it's not because I was reading things about procrastination. A lot of it is fear of failure, fear of rejection, but I don't have that. I honestly don't have fear of failure.
But
or fear of
are you
rejection.
doing that guy thing where you pretend you don't have something, but you actually have something?
No, because I don't think I could be doing. I couldn't have been in this business for as long as I've been if I had this fear of rejection. Like I don't.
Yeah, not rejection necessarily, but like
I've fear of. It's not failure because I used to write. I used to do the things I had to do on time, and then they never came to fruition. So it's gotten to the point now. I'm like, oh, what's the point? Like it's sort of that
Yeah,
sort of thing.
but
which isn't a
that's-
fear of failure. It's just a fear of like, why bother?
that's a self-fulfilling prophecy though.
Yeah, I
You know what I
guess.
mean? Like this is something that I've actually been working on with my therapist because I had a big job opportunity back in like January where I was having some reps come out and see me do stand up. And that day I just remember feeling like so dysregulated and so anxious, and like my pre-show nap that I normally took I couldn't take, and I was just laying there feeling like I was having heart palpitations.
Are you just
And I'm like,
sabotaging
Jen,
yourself?
I go, Jen, you've wanted this for so long. Why are you so scared of this? And you know, I think what it comes down to is scared of, well, what's at the next level? What happens at the next level? Am I good enough to be at the next level? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
So that's fear of
it's
failure, right?
It's not fear of failure. It's fear of not being good enough.
Feel of inadequacy.
It's that imposter syndrome that kicks in and goes, we're not good enough to be at that level. Why? That's silly of you to think that we should be at that level.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I'm like, I've been doing this for a while. I'm actually pretty good at it when I'm staying out of my own way. Truly. The times I struggle on stage is when I'm watching myself. And
Yeah.
I'm not just up there and being present and connecting with an audience.
Yeah.
That's when I struggle, is when I get up
I
there.
mean, you just got to take
and
that. It's a weird thing. I learned this a long time ago when I first started stand up because I took a stand up comedy class when I first moved over here because I didn't know how to get into comedy.
That was with Greg Dean, right?
I took Greg Dean's stand up comedy class, and he has this whole bit about when you first start about taking the self-critic and taking it off stage. Like it sounds all weird and like new age philosophical stuff, but it's like literally you take that part of your brain that's critical of you in that moment and you just put him to the side of the stage.
Yeah.
And if you mentally sort of do that every time you get up, and it eventually works, and you get up there and you don't have that critic on stage.
Yeah, it's taking the critic out of the picture, and we all have like that critical part of ourselves. You know what I mean? That's constantly judging the stuff that we're
Yeah,
doing
you
or
wouldn't
saying.
comb your hair.
Yeah, I mean,
We all do. You wouldn't wipe your ass.
But we all have that part of us that's like, you're not good enough to be doing this. Like, who do you think you are? And that part of me is called mom. And it's the reason I do stand up in the first place.
Little mom on your shoulder.
Truly. No, I mean, look, we all have like that parent that expected perfectionism from us. You know what I mean? Most of us did.
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
It must be nice.
I didn't.
That's why you turned out a relatively balanced person.
Probably.
But mine always
through mediocrity my whole life.
Mine always expected perfectionism because my sister was like the problem child. So I had to be the good one, and perfect was never good enough. That's another thing. Is
that why you procrastinate? Because of perfect? That's one of the reasons
yes,
people procrastinate.
100%.
Perfectionism.
Perfectionism is one of my big
You're
things.
like, well, I'll never get it perfect, so why do
It's
it?
never good enough.
Yeah.
The other thing I think a lot of people do is they see a goal, and they're like that's a big goal, you know, like, oh, playing a theater or playing like a bigger room or getting that first special, you know. They see that big goal and they're like, it's so far away. I don't know if I can get there. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems so far-fetched. And it's like, if you just break it down into like little micro steps that like your nervous system goes, oh, we can do this. That's not that bad, you know? So like one of the things that I'm doing in getting ready to get my hour and to try to sell a special is I'm breaking it down and I'm going, I'm going to put these opportunities on tape, put myself on tape for longer periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And bigger stake shows doing it, you know, but like incrementally, like get bigger every time because that's what you have to do, you know? And I think it's really important too, like for procrastinating is to have like goals that aren't all over the place and goals that like make sense and have order, you know what I mean? That are working towards something bigger, you know? Like I think at some point when you get to a certain age and like a certain part of your career, you stop like road mapping out what you need to do because you're just like, but I've done some of this already. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, it's like comics talk about this all the time. After they finish a special, it's like, fuck, now I got to start all over again.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, after I did my hour, I'm just kind of like,
because when did you
now
tape?
I have nothing.
When did you tape the not special or the unspecial?
2019. It released in 2020.
Was it that long ago?
It was pre-pandemic.
I didn't realize we did that in 2019.
But then, like, what sucked about that was as soon as I'd done it, I mean, we basically went into lockdown. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, now how do I write? Because I write on. I'm a stage writer. Like I take ideas on stage and I flesh them out. So I'm like, for like that year,
people think we're absolutely insane, by the way, for doing that. Like people are like, I've had people be like, you don't go to open mics and stuff, and I was like, no, I don't need to go sit in front of a bunch of dudes that hate me.
No, that won't help.
No,
that won't help at all. I'm comfortable talking on stage.
Same, because of my hosting
you go to
career.
a mic to get comfortable talking on stage.
Yeah,
in silence.
It's not to test material.
No, not
you
to
test material with people who have souls.
You'll skew your material to jaded comedians if you do open mics.
Dude, I have a girl that I work with. This woman that I work with.
Yeah.
That she actually took from Greg Dean, and it's so obvious. I can tell who everyone's worked with in this town based on how they write jokes. And when I saw her the first time, I was like, oh, she worked with Greg.
But I never took the writing structure from Greg. I just took some of the stage stuff.
Yeah, no, you don't write like him
Greg
at
Dean,
all. But most of his students have a very, because he was Anthony Jeselnik's, first teacher, from what I understand.
It's very, you could tell the way Anthony writes. It's very, because Greg Dean is very
for
set up. Here's your setup and then the misdirection.
Oh, yeah.
Build tension, release tension.
And that's how this student like writes, you know? I hope just said her name. We have to edit that out. I mean, I mean, I have nothing I haven't said to her before, you know? And it's just like, she, like trying to get her to, I don't even remember what I was going to say because we talked about Greg. My Adderall needs to kick in immediately.
Writing?
No, yeah, but the writing for her, it's been interesting watching her process because like, her process is so different from everybody else's process. And because she's so dark and because she was going to all these open mics with men who are broken open mic comics, you know? And so she kept bringing in darker and darker and darker stuff.
Yeah, because you're trying to play to the crowd at the open mic.
Yeah, a normal audience is not going to respond to this unless they are severely damaged.
Right.
And I was like, and even then, like, that's not your audience, you know?
Well, it's like... it's weird. You shouldn't write for other people. You should write for yourself.
But
at the same time,
I find her trying to appease male comics at mics, and I was like, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
That's unless that's all you want to do for your whole life is appease male comics.
No,
Which
you don't
is
want to
tragic.
do that. It's a pick me strategy. It's not going to work for you. Because female comics have the added thing of I've got to make every woman in this room like me. It's true.
Yeah, but you also have to at some point drop that.
Yeah. Oh no, but it's something that you need to be aware of.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that I definitely struggled with at certain points in my career.
But are you being aware of it because you're taking it on stage, and then that's making you struggle because you're so self-aware of it while you're trying to do your act? Like, it's a weird thing.
No. I'm aware of it during the writing process. I'm aware of it during the writing process, and I'm aware of it when I have to crowd work women. Or if I have to deal with a female who's being drunk and loud. Because women don't heckle, except my mom. That's a whole different thing.
Drunk women are the worst audience members.
Yeah,
Than drunk dudes.
because you have to be delicate with it. Everyone expects you to destroy the drunk dude.
A drunk dude, sometimes you can shame a drunk dude, but if they're so belligerent you can't, they at least know that they're going to be physically
They're going to be
removed.
physically removed.
So there is the fear of physicality
I've
there.
seen drunk women removed too.
Yeah, but I think...
But they make a lot of noise on the way out.
drunk women at comedy shows just have no fear. No fear. It's like they got it's like in Super Mario when you get that star and you just fucking run through Super Mario, not afraid of anything. That's what a drunk woman is. Yeah, that's what a drunk woman is at a show.
Fuck yeah.
They have no fucking fear.
Oh yeah.
And you can't.
because they're not going to get clocked.
They're going to get clocked.
My favorite.
They're going to get clocked. There's no fear of it.
My favorite instance of this though was when I was on the road with Porter, and he was dealing with this really drunk woman up in Sacramento. And the girl's boyfriend kept trying to get her to be quiet, and she was just like, I don't like you. I don't like, it was just saying that she just didn't like him. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't her cup of tea.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Then
And
leave. Then
so
leave.
he went in on her, and I'm pretty sure he broke this couple up that night because we got videos DM'd to us. Like it was me, Porter, and Trix.
Yeah.
And all of us were getting videos of this couple in the parking lot and like in the crosswalk trying to get across the street of her just being like, I can't believe you didn't defend me. And he was like, babe, you literally were part of the show.
You're indefensible.
Like, you made yourself a part of the show. Like it was a joke. It was a bit. Like it was funny. And I was like, oh, they are not coming back.
No, drunk girls are the worst. I remember when I was bartending or managing. Do you remember the Room?
Yeah.
On Cahuenga.
Yeah.
So I managed that like 20 years ago, and there was a woman who was insane, and she was with a
Just
group
one?
of dudes. Well, her and her friend, but this one woman, and we were bouncing her, and she literally stood up, cleared her sinuses, and spit oatmeal at me.
Oh my God.
And literally, my door guys were like, just looked at me, and they were like, one of them just grabbed me, and they were like, because I was gonna kill
You're about to
someone.
break the law.
It was the most disgusting thing. But she did it with no, like if a guy did that to you,
Oh,
they'd be like, I'm gonna do this, but I know
there's
that
repercussions coming.
I know I'm gonna get my teeth knocked
Yeah.
out. But she
did it
with
with
like,
just such reckless abandon because
I
she
mean,
knew you couldn't
literally-
hit
Well,
her.
there's
Like-
always such an arrogance about it.
She knew
when
you
they
couldn't
do it.
hit her.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was on a Nickelodeon show. That's how gross it was.
I have said repeatedly that women would behave much differently if they had the same threat of violence that men have when
Right.
they interact with each other.
Right.
Like I don't think like women don't hit other women, but that's why I think we aren't as direct as men are when it comes to dealing with conflict. You know what I mean? Like I wish women were as direct as dealing with as men are with dealing with conflict. But there's so much like nicety to your
there's
face
so much
and like
mind games.
backstabbing.
Yeah.
I can't. I have a psychology degree and I'm like, I still don't get you people. But I feel like if women had the idea that, oh, I might get hit if I do that. Like she might punch me. Another woman might punch me. I think we treat each other much differently.
Oh, probably. And they would act differently in comedy shows.
And that's my soapbox.
And they would act different in comedy shows, for sure.
Yeah, you had a rough night the other night, didn't you?
Yeah, I was...
I feel like you're still traumatized.
well, no, it's...
But
Where
you
was
got
I?
injured
You were
on
texting
stage?
me.
No, I'd hurt my back, but then I had that night I hosted for Leno at Flappers. And
Which seems like it'd be a similar demographic.
well, it was a weird night to begin with because way different. It's a much older demographic.
Is he that much older?
He's 75.
No, but I mean, is his demo that much older? Do you know what I mean? Like, we grew up with him.
We did, and I think there are people there are Gen X. I mean, I guess it's mostly Gen X. That's probably his demographic, and I'm later Gen X. I'm not earlier Gen X.
Yeah.
But it was just, I went there. It was an odd night to begin with because there was a guy, you know, the bridge that going over to Flappers on Magnolia.
Yeah.
When you're driving to Flappers, a guy was trying to jump off that bridge,
Oh.
so they shut down the 5.
It's not tall enough. Like, logistically, that's a terrible idea,
just
dude.
you just blow your ankles out, and you're like, "Fuck! Well, this was stupid."
Exactly.
That's why you got to put your hands in your pockets and jump.
Lead with your head.
Head dive with your hands in your pocket. And so they shut down the 5, and traffic was a nightmare. So the show was only like a half full for Leno, which is usually sold out. But people couldn't get to the show, so it was a weird night anyway. But you go up and you're like, "Okay, I got this." And I was hosting. It's just like I didn't do poorly. It's just, you know, when a crowd likes you and a crowd is just
Placating you?
placating or not,
Or being polite.
not getting you. You're not connecting with them, and you can tell when you don't connect with an audience. And you get up there, I'm just trying like.
How much of that do you think is the material, and how much of that is crowds being programmed to want crowd work right now?
I think
Column A, column B.
you do have a lot of crowds that are like, okay, this is what stand up. Because the problem is you get a lot of first time people coming to comedy shows, and they're like, oh, that's what it is. And so they don't see the crowd work; they're just seeing material. And you're like, what is this? I'm like, well,
I always ask.
This is stand up.
I always ask when I'm hosting. Sometimes I'm like, is this anybody's first comedy show?
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, this is how this shit works.
Yeah.
Please laugh.
If you want to watch crowd work, go play TikTok in the lobby. Like, seriously, it's somewhat. But then I go up and I'm like, I'm doing fine. It's okay. And then I get down like, oh, that just wasn't my crowd.
Yeah.
And
How did everybody else do?
well, it's just me, Jimmy Brogan, and Jay Leno, which is again two much older dudes than
Iconic,
me.
but iconic comics.
Iconic. And Jimmy he only does crowd work.
Yeah, he
doesn't
only does
do-
crowd. It's pretty impressive because he's done warm up for a bunch of different shows, right?
He did more. I think he was a writer on.
And nobody's
television.
better than him at crowd work.
It's
just-
I
insane.
mean, it's astonishing how
I've
good he
seen
is.
him win over crowds that are not his. So to hear that he struggled too.
Yeah, like he got off stage and we were both just kind of like, well, that was a weird crowd because you couldn't get him. You could get a laugh, but you couldn't get him.
But also, there's a good chance that a lot of those people saw what was happening outside. And that's a hard place to bring people back from.
Yeah. No, I asked him when I got up there. I was like, so what, you guys know what's going on? Because I didn't even know at the time what was going on out there. And then someone in the crowd goes, yeah, a guy was trying to jump off the bridge. I'm like, all right.
What did you say?
I was like, oh, did he? And then they're like, no. And then some other person goes, well, he tried to climb up the bridge. I'm like, well, did he try to climb or try to jump? That's two different things. And then we got in this whole.
Oh, you got stuck in like a kangaroo court situation.
Yeah, but they were enjoying that part of it. It's when
Of
I
course,
when I
'cause
get
it was
out
about
of that.
them.
Yes.
There you
and then
go.
you go into the
So
material. and they're kind of-
Did you tell him you were going to join him when you were done with your set?
I was like, I'm gonna go jump off this bridge right now.
He was clearly on the early show.
It wasn't that bad because I never like I'm at the point now where I don't like no matter how bad a set is, I don't feel like, oh man, I gotta go. Like I don't get bummed out about bad sets.
I don't get bummed out. I get frustrated, but I don't get bummed out.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, well I'll do another one tomorrow and it'll be fine. But
Yeah,
it's just like
that's how I know I'm supposed to be doing this. Is because if I struggle, I'm just like, put me right back out there.
yeah, because I'm not.
I'm like, I'm not done fighting with these people yet.
Yeah, but I'm not like
I'll
I
keep
don't,
fighting them.
I
Let's
don't
go.
have that fear of bad. Like you have a bad show, you move on to the next one. But it's just like I realize it because you're brought up when you first start. You're told by all these comics, like there's no bad comics, or there's no bad crowd, just bad comics, or
Oh, no, there's bad
You
crowds.
can win over any audience. I'm like, no, you can't. Some audiences are just not your audience.
No, they're bad crowds.
Like if I went,
And look, in LA, there's a lot of bad crowds.
there's a lot of bad crowd. Well, because it's not people don't care about entertainment. here.
Industry are the worst people
don't care
to
about
play
entertainment.
for. Like when Fluffy did his special with Netflix as a joke at Dodger Stadium,
Yeah.
he told them, he's like, don't put anyone I know in the first 50 rows.
In the first 50
No,
rows.
no reps, no friends,
Yeah.
no family. He's like, I want people who are fucking fans.
Yeah.
Because like, and that's the thing you want is because like when industry come out, Like there's a
Well, they're
night.
doing a job. They're doing their
there's
job.
there's a night that gets talked about a lot though, when it comes to industry and like how bad industry crowds are. Did you ever hear about the night that Brody Stevens broke the Comedy Store main room?
No.
It was like this big industry showcase.
Oh, he did that at the.
I mean,
This is another Brody story, but we both showcased for Montreal in 2003.
Yeah.
At Mixed Nuts. I don't know if you're ever familiar with that. It was down on Pico.
oh,
And he did the same thing. He imploded a Montreal showcase.
but like in a good way. The Comedy Store was a good way. I mean,
Oh.
it could have been another way on the Montreal
No,
showcase.
this one was not. He literally saw, because it was a packed crowd. Everyone was just crushing.
Yeah.
And I thought I got Montreal that night. I got the next year, but that night I was like, I got it. I did great. And then Brody goes up, and his first joke doesn't quite hit because he's Brody.
Yeah.
And you could tell, and then you could just see the switch in his head, like, okay, we're gonna take this one into the mountain, guys.
So he
And he did.
But
It's
but
amazing.
at the Comedy Store one night, it was an industry showcase, and so it was like I said, a lot of industry in that room. And it was a bad room, and he got on stage, and basically was just like, "So what do you guys need from me? You need an 8x10, a 5x7." Like he starts talking industry talk to them.
Right.
It's like, anybody want to hip pocket me? Yeah, and he basically was just telling them like, you guys are a shitty audience, probably great reps, shit audience,
Yeah.
And he broke the room, and the rest of the night was okay.
Oh, nice.
But up until that point,
Yeah, you had to break the room.
yeah. Someone had to break the room and call out how weird it was, because everybody was going up there and trying to do their material because
Yeah.
they were like, I want to be seen. I want reps.
Yeah.
And they weren't calling out like the elephant in the room.
But the reps are there to see material, and you're there to do your material. And
Exactly.
but neither one of you you're both doing your jobs, but no one's having fun.
Yeah.
And then it's a shitty show.
So no one did great that night at
Yeah.
Flappers, is what you're saying.
And no one did. I mean, it was a weird night. It's a weird night. But I did 2 more shows that night at Flappers, and they were okay, but it's just like sometimes they're just not
Sometimes it's also not your crowd.
it's not your crowd.
Like, do you ever walk out in front of a crowd and it's like, you can tell it's a bunch of Gen Z
Yeah.
or like early millennials, and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah. Sometimes I can get those people, but
Early
it's not my-
millennials? I
yeah.
feel like you might struggle with Gen Z a little bit.
No, I think it's not so much at that point. It's not material. It's just it's who you are on stage and how you're delivering and how you're connecting with the audience. And then I think you can get people to buy into most material. But if you go up there as rigid in who you are as a comedian, I think you can have that clash of generations.
Oh,
in an
I've had that
audience
before.
but it's a weird thing.
I've had that before when I've opened for older comics and
Yeah.
comics whose crowds skew older.
Yeah.
Because I finally realized I had to acknowledge how old I was, because I
Right.
didn't look my age
Right.
either. So like I was coming off like this cranky young entitled girl.
I'm
And
not.
so-
I'm old.
No,
I've
I'm-
earned my cranky.
Yeah, I just am sober. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that's
Well, it's-
that's always fun, is when I go home and people are like, "You look so much better than us." I'm
I
like, I
just-
didn't do drugs
I
and I
feel like-
don't drink.
I feel like comedy has been we've had so much exposure to stand-up comedy in the last 20, 25 years, more so than we did. It's been more accessible to people.
Because of Netflix and all the streamers and social media.
Comedy Central, cable shows. Like in the 80s, early 90s, you knew what stand-up was. You'd see a stand-up special on HBO. So it's like crowds would go see stand-up and they would just enjoy comedy. But now there's so many comedians, there's so many avenues to watch comedy. It's now people have
Which is
you
good
pick
and
choose.
bad.
Yeah, but you pick your choose, and it's like I like this type and I like this type, and these are the types I'm going to support. And they'll go to comedy shows, and they're not going to see their type of comedy, but they're seeing 10 comics doing a bunch of different types of comedy, and they just don't like it because this isn't what I saw on TikTok.
Yeah, I remember when I first.
Because it's so a la carte now. It's just so that I choose this and I choose this, but I don't like this. Whereas before, people would just go to a comedy show to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. Where I was like, I used to go to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And very rarely did a comic get up there and I was like, I hate that. I hate that. Because I love comedy in general.
Yeah.
You know?
And then comics, I think, now are also writing and crafting their material to focus on their audience and not being more broad to everybody.
But I've had like my therapist be like, sometimes I think you lose some of your edge when you try to be too general. When you try to be too universal, you lose what makes you special.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, I'm just going to be, I'm going to be the comic that everybody likes. And it's like,
They can't.
you can't.
Not possible.
You can't please everybody.
Can't be that in real life.
And
Can't
you're
be that
never
as a
going to be
human
happy
being.
because you're putting aside the stuff that you want to talk
Yeah.
about. Like I went and I watched Chappelle recently,
Yeah.
like in person in a small room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's really cool to see him working on material that's not flushed out, you know, and he's just
Was
you can
that
clear-
that downtown club?
Yeah, the upstairs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Was
so I
it-
got to-
Was it a good show?
Great show.
Fuck,
Chaotic,
I heard about that. It was
though.
like two weeks ago, right?
Chaotic, though.
sure.
Because so that we were at the show, this guy got up in the middle of the show, walked across the room, and threw a drink on 2 women in the front row.
What?
And it just felt so out of place. We were all like, what the hell? And of course, Chappelle
Why?
is coming off the incident at the Hollywood Bowl. So there
Yeah.
are guards and security everywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, plus, like, his boys are on the show. Like, this is the dumbest shit this person could have done. This guy dumps these drinks and flees the building, hauls ass out of the building. Like, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And he dumped it on 2 women in the front row. And what proceeds to happen is Dave basically holds a kangaroo court between these 2 women and the guy that flees Buddy, who happens to be sitting across the aisle from me. And so people were like, did anybody see where that guy came from? Is anybody with that guy? And we all just went. And this guy just sunk into his chair like, son of a bitch. Like, what? By the way, the guy ran out of there, left his phone. Probably never stopped running long enough to see that he didn't have
It's
a
probably
phone.
still running.
He was wasted. Oh, yeah. He made it to West Hollywood before he figured out he didn't have his phone.
Wow.
But Dave basically sat there and like was mediating, like almost like a judge. It felt like I was watching an episode of Jerry Springer or Maury, you know, or Judge Judy. And like he went through like what was going on between these things,
Yeah.
you know? And after he was done with all that crowd, it was interesting watching him handle that,
Yeah.
you know? And he was very good at doing it. But after that, he goes, I'm so glad you guys, he's like, no. He's like, let's keep going. I'm so glad you guys are doing this because I didn't have anything to talk about tonight. But he told some great stories. And it was really interesting watching his structure come together. You know what I mean? Because he would set up, the way he'd set up, he'd do like a little bit of a bit.
Yeah.
And then he'd go into a story, usually about himself or like something about like he was doing in the community or something that had like a moral to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Something that was like, I'm establishing that I'm a safe person,
Yeah.
despite what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like he lets the audience know that they're safe.
Yeah.
And then he takes you through this long story, you know, and then at the end, he punches you in the dick. Like, that's just his structure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's done that for a long time.
Yeah, especially since he's come back
Yeah, because that structure is hard to do
as a newer comic. If you haven't earned the audience,
If you haven't earned the audience and the audience doesn't know who, people go to see Chappelle, they know, okay, he's going to talk. You're going to get 3 laughs every 4 minutes, but they're going to be the biggest laughs you can possibly imagine.
Oh my God!
You're not
Fell out
getting-
of my chair.
You're
Fell
not get-
out
yeah.
of my chair.
You're not getting 15 laughs a minute.
Yeah.
With him, but that's not the structure.
But yeah, but he also does. He does do some of his older, like,
Yeah.
there's still shades of like young Chappelle at the top of the bit.
No, he could do that. He mastered doing. I
Yeah.
can get you to laugh 15 times in a minute.
At the top of the bit. Like, that's
Yeah.
where that still lives.
Yeah.
But then he's like, I'm also like comfortable sitting down and telling you a
Yeah.
story and like making the set mean
Yeah,
something.
which is hard to do until you've earned that as a comedian.
For
you
sure.
can't do that.
How do you earn that?
You have a show on Comedy Central. It's the greatest show
And
of
then
all
you walk
time,
away from
and then
it?
you walk away from it, and people like consider you the goat of comedy.
Because you walked away
Yeah,
from that much
and
money.
Then you're hilarious whenever you talk, and it's just you go up and you can earn that. And people are like, what's he going to say? What's he going to? And you listen to it. If I
Yeah.
went up there and talked for 4 minutes without a joke, people are like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
What is this?
But
Like, you can't earn it. You got to earn it, man.
much to that, it's like, I think there's an art in being able to like sit in that uncomfortable space of telling a story and not getting laughs
Yeah.
and being like, don't worry, this is all going to pay off. You know what I mean? It's just keeping people invested. It's got to
Yeah.
be an interesting enough
Well, you
story
have to be a
that
great
keeps people
storyteller
invested.
too. You have to be a great storyteller too, which he is.
But man, that was a wild night. Like I said, I still don't think that guy stopped running yet. I was like, thank God they wanted us to get in here. Cause I got a little concerned when like that happened. Cause you're just like, really? Like, I don't know.
That's crazy.
What precipitated it? Like, why did he do?
He was mad that he had gotten moved because he had been there earlier and he had seats up in the front and they relocated him to put these 2 ladies there.
So he blamed the ladies.
So he blamed the ladies and not the club for relocating him, and he went over and did that.
What fucking moron would
He
do
was
that?
drunk.
Well, that's
He was so drunk. He was talking to the comics from the side of the room drunk. Do you know what I mean?
okay.
Like,
So
yeah,
then
yeah.
this is a club fail then completely.
Yeah, they didn't police the club.
I mean,
well
if
at that point.
they're allowing someone that drunk to be in there, if they're that's
It's more that they opened the doors so early because like they knew it was going to be crazy, and it was. You know, it was crazy. Like they had the phones were locked up. You know what I mean? Like it was. It was very interesting to see how like the whole thing was handled, but it was a great show.
Did you go to the first or second show? Weren't
show.
there too? Yeah.
First show. I heard the first night was better, so I was there. Eddie, how long have we been doing?
I think we're ready.
Are we ready?
46 minutes.
Let's do
Jesus
it.
Christ. Feels like 2 hours.
Oh, shut up. This is fun.
All right, we're going to play Florida Man Friday. I read in search of 3 Florida Man headlines, 2 real, 1 fake. She tells me what the fake Florida Man headline is, and Keita's going to play along.
All right, Keita, let's see what you got.
Here we go. Florida man accused of having drugs delivered to pet store where he worked. Florida man blames cat for downloading illegal images. Florida man arrested for threatening McDonald's worker after being informed milkshake machine was broken.
Ooh.
One of those is fake.
I think it's the second one. As much as I want that to be real, it's too funny. And I
Florida
bet you,
man blames cat for downloading illegal
and I
images.
bet you were feeling yourself when you wrote it. I think so because we all know that the milkshake machine is always broken at McDonald's.
For sure.
Oh wait, but could you be doing this to? Now I don't know, but I think I'm gonna go with 2.
2?
Yeah.
Keita.
See, I always choose the least crazy one.
Okay.
Is usually the one that's not is the
Is
fake
the fake one?
So I'm saying 1.
You think
what was
one?
number 1 again?
Florida man accused of having drugs delivered to pet store where he worked.
Yeah, that's too simple. That's the one.
You're both wrong.
What?
The
McDonald's?
McDonald's is the fake one.
Wait, which one?
He did swerve us.
I did swerve you
McDonald's.
guys.
McDonald's was the fake one.
Florida man blames cat for downloading illegal images actually happened.
That's hilarious.
And then a guy got arrested.
What did he download?
I don't know. They wouldn't say in the article.
Well,
It says
it
illegal
wasn't
images.
cat pictures.
I was gonna say kitty porn. I'm sorry. I see myself out.
That's a perfect button.
I'll see myself out. Anyways, Eddie, where can people find you?
You can find me at Eddie Pence on all the socials or eddiepence.com.
You can find me fucking in the bathroom after dropping. I'm embarrassed I dropped that. You can find me at Jennifer Sturger, guys, on all the socials. Please keep liking, subscribing, share us with your friends. Do all the things you can for this pod. We're trying to grow this thing. If we make your week better just by being a part of it, make somebody else's week better and
Yes,
send this
please.
link to them.
Thank you.
Are we monetizable yet?
Close.
We're getting
Damn
there.
it.
We're getting there.
Guys,
We're getting there.
subscribe. Do whatever you have to do to the YouTubes. Do it just because if you listen to us on audio, go watch us on YouTube.
Just play it. Just play it. Give
I'm
me
way
the hours.
prettier than Eddie. But
True.
he did get his haircut.
It's true.
So
I did get a haircut, though.
he did.
so
He got his haircut for you
Go
guys.
watch the video.
So please go watch the video. Appreciate Eddie's new haircut. And just thank you guys again for all your support. We will see you next time on another episode of Not Today.
Bye.
Bye.